Hello, everybody. I hope you are well. Okay, so an assembly today. The world is celebrating something tomorrow, and I'd like to do an assembly about it. So I'm just going to get myself shrunk down a little bit out of the way because one of our values is hope. And hope is all about looking to the future positively and planning how to get there. What we're celebrating tomorrow is to do with hope, and it's to do with making sure that we do plan for the future and we do get there positively. So I'm going to show you another slide, the next picture. This is the logo for World Wildlife Day, which happens on the 3rd of March. And this is a fantastic illustration. I think it's beautiful. And it's of indigenous people who live in these different parts of the world. And it's about forests. And the focus this year is about forests and the people that live in them and use them. And you can see, and also, of course, the animals that live in those forests. And you can see a selection of those. I wonder if you can recognise any of them. I'm going to get my pointer because some of my favourite animals are actually hidden away in this. Let's have a look. Okay, so at the top here, this is an amazing bird called the harpy eagle, one of the largest eagles on the planet. Lives in South America and eats monkeys. It's a monkey eating eagle. Oh, look over here. We've got a chimpanzee. Lives in the forests of Africa. Not all the forests of Africa because it's endangered. We've got another animal here as well. An okapi, another animal that lives in the forests of the Congo in West Africa. And you can come over, you see all these animals, they're hidden, some of them. This is a coati. We go around, we've got a hornbill from Asia. This bird here from South America called a cock of the rock. Beautiful bird. This is some sort of river dolphin by the look of it, because of course forests often have vast rivers flowing through them. So that's the focus anyway, it's about forests. We've got some forests in this country. We've got a big area of forest called the Kielder Forest, which is up in the north, near the Scottish border. But in England and, well, in the UK as a whole, there's not many forests. I want to show you a picture. This is the Cambrian Mountains in Wales. You can see there are some forests. These are plantations though. These are artificially planted, and they are more for wood than they are for wildlife. But the rest of it, there's not much forest around there. But what's so sad is that this area, the Cambrian Mountains, like most of the mountains in the UK, they used to be covered with forests. And these forests would have been covered by this sort of forest. And these are rainforests. You don't think of rainforests as being in this country, in places which aren't hot and sweaty, but actually the rain, we would have had rainforests in Wales, definitely. And this is an example of a rainforest in Wales. It's a Cambrian rainforest. But that picture that of those mountains, they would have been covered with this sort of forest. But we chopped them all down. And we need to go some way of redressing this. And we need to try and see if we can get some of these forests back. Lots of people think this looks beautiful. Well, it does look beautiful, but there's not much life living there. It's quite devoid. That means without. It's quite without life. Wouldn't it be better if it looked like that? God, can you imagine the creatures that might be hiding just down there? Anyway, I want to talk to you about a lady. She's called Wangari Maathai. Here she is. She was born on the 1st of April in 1940, and sadly she died not long ago in 2011. Well, I'm going to tell you her life story, and you can find out what she did. But she was born in Kenya, in Africa. And I'm going to share this book with you. It's called Wangari's Trees of Peace, a true story from Africa. And it's illustrated and written. It's a biography, so it's written about by Jeanette Winter. She does fantastic biographies, and she always illustrates them in this amazing style. She did one about a lady called, what's she called? Her name has slipped my mind. Chimpanzee lady. Jane Goodall. She wrote a fantastic book about the Jane Goodall called The Watcher. Right, let's have a look. Wangari's Trees of Peace, a true story from Africa. The earth was naked. For me, the mission was to try to cover it with green. And that's a quote from Wangari. Wangari lives under an umbrella of green trees in the shadow of Mount Kenya in Africa. She watches the birds in the forest where she and her mother go to gather firewood for cooking. And she helps harvest the sweet potatoes, sugarcane and maize from the rich soil. Maize is another name for sweet corn. Wangari shines in school. And when she grows tall like the trees in the forest, she wins a scholarship to study in America. You can see her getting a boat across to America. 6 years later, her studies over, Wangari returns to her Kenya home and sees a change. What's happened, she wonders. Where are all the trees? Wangari sees women bent from hauling firewood miles and miles from home. She sees barren land where no crops grow. And where are the birds? Thousands of trees have been cut down to make room for buildings, but no one planted new trees to take their place. Will all of Kenya become a desert, she wonders, as her tears fall. Wangari thinks about the barren land. I can begin to replace some of the lost trees here in my own backyard, one tree at a time. She starts by planting 9 seedlings. Watching the seedlings take root gives Wangari the idea to plant more, to start a farm for baby trees, a nursery. In an open space she plants row after row of the tiny trees. Next, Wangari convinces the village women that planting trees is a good thing. She gives each one a seedling. Our lives will be better when we have trees again. You'll see, we are planting the seeds of hope. The women spread out over their village, planting tiny trees in long rows, like a green belt stretching over the land. The government men laugh. Women can't do this, they say. It takes trained foresters to plant trees. The women ignore the laughter and keep planting. Wangari pays them a small amount, for each seedling still lives after 3 months, their first earnings ever. Word travels like wind rustling through leaves about the green returning to Wangari's village. Soon other women in other villages and towns and cities in Kenya are planting long rows of seedlings too. But the cutting continues. Wangari stands tall as an oak to protect the old trees still remaining. We need a park more than we need an office tower. The government men disagree. Wangari blocks their way, so they hit her with clubs. They call her a troublemaker and put her in jail. And still she stands tall. Right is right, even if you're alone. But Wangari is not alone. Talk of the trees spreads over all of Africa, like ripples in Lake Victoria. More women hear the talk and plant even more seedlings in longer and longer rows. The seedlings take root and grow tall until there are over 30 million trees where there were none. The umbrella of green in Kenya returns. Women walk tall, their backs straight, for now they can gather firewood closer to home. The land is no longer barren. Sweet potatoes, sugarcane and maize grow again in the rich red earth. The whole world hears of Wangari's trees and of her army of women who planted them. And if you were to climb to the very top of Mount Kenya today, you would see the millions of trees growing below you, and the green Wangari brought back to Africa. So that's what Wangari did. She brought the green back to Africa. It makes you think though, doesn't it? Because, where we live, there's lots of farmland. Woods, we get woods, but they're like small groups of trees, not massive forests. And wouldn't it be lovely if actually we had these forests? Because forests are not only important for wildlife, They are incredibly important for wildlife, but they're important for human life as well, because trees produce vast amounts of oxygen, and they also capture carbon, which slows down climate change. And we are experiencing climate change all over the world. And in this country, we experience it, and we have experienced it in recent years with terrible flooding, which has happened, which means that people lose their homes, they're damaged, and ways of life are altered. Let's go back to that photo. I think it's a really important photo of the Cambrian Mountains. I'm not going to whiz through them all, I'll go back to them. So those are the Cambrian Mountains again. I'm just going to shrink myself down so I'm out of the way so you can see it. Now, as I said earlier, they do look beautiful, but there is very little life there. And what can we use it for? Well, we can use it for sheep farming. Even then, the grass isn't very good. It's not very good quality grass, so you can't actually put that many sheep on it. And if you put sheep on it, it stops other plants from growing. So actually, it's not really very good for that. I suppose you go walking in it. What else could you use it for? Not much. Whereas if we go to this photo of a rainforest in the United Kingdom, oh, I feel like I'm there. I'm just going to make myself a bit bigger. All that growth, all those plants, all capturing carbon, so slowing down climate change. Also, though, the amount of life that it's sustaining, all those plants, all those insects, all those birds, all those mammals, fish in those rivers, everything so much better. Not only that, but we can use forests. Wood grows, and wood is an amazing building material. Homes have been built out of wood for forever, a long time. In fact, we still use wood in lots of end houses that we build. So why not use wood from forests like this? So Wangari, an amazing woman who changed Kenya. And on this day, on World Wildlife Day, we need to think about what we can do to make the world a better place. And we can plant trees, we can do it, but also we can tell people about Wangari and what she did, and spread the news of what planting trees can do. Okay, I'm going to go back into the forest because I think that's my favourite place. And I'm going to say, see you all soon. Take lots of care. And I'll see you all on Monday. See you. Bye.